fact that you do need specialist ministries. There's always been a kind of a love-hate relationship between what's called Parachurch Ministries or specialist ministries and the local church. And I mentioned that you have these different kinds. You've got prayer ministries that bring the churches and the pastors and everyone together to pray for the city. You got lots of different kinds of evangelism ministries, youth ministries, campus ministries, lots of them. You've got faith work ministries, faith work initiatives, things that get people together, Christians together within their vocational field. You've got justice and mercy initiatives and ministries, tons, millions of types of various initiatives that are just trying to meet practical needs and care for the poor and help the needy in a million different ways. You've got educational, you've got schools, you've got Christian schools, but on top of that, you've got all kinds of training and educational sort of ministries. You've got leadership development ministries, and there's a circle of these various sorts of ministries. And my experience is that on the one hand, those ministries need the church. Ultimately, it's as the church grows, that the church growing is the tide that lifts all the boats. If you've got lots and lots of the specialist ministries, and you've got a very, very weak church base, those ministries are not going to be able to stay propped up. You need support, you need help, Specialist ministries are specialized, and your people need to be in generalist communities. See, you may be a specialist in youth ministry, but the Christian community you're part of needs to have old people in it as well as young people in it. So you need to be part of a church even while you're doing youth ministry. So on the one hand, unless the church is strong, the specialist ministries can't flourish. But on the other hand, if there's a tendency for churches to say, why do we need all these ministries if the church was doing its job? That's all we would need. I don't believe that's right. It's just not true. I'm a pastor of a very large church, and to some degree, if your church is extremely large, you can sort of get away with it. But by and large, churches simply will never be as good at, your local church is never going to be as good at reaching out to Muslim people as a full-time, lifetime agency, organization, missionary who's worked with Muslims all his or her life will be. I think it's even true of youth ministry. I think of, certainly everybody likes to say we don't need seminaries because the church ought to train people. And then when you try to do it, you end up developing seminaries anyway because it takes specialization. So I think to me, the key to having movement dynamics in a city, vitality, growth, innovation, creativity, all the stuff we've been talking about, is there needs to be a wonderful, positive, complex, mutually supportive, interdependent relationship between the local churches and all those ministries. Not that easy.